You're using tab too much, and to find out why you shouldn't do this, just hang out to find out. It's a common scourge of the modern guitar player. You've got a song that you want to learn or a solo, so what do? You go Google, tab, blah, 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 and it comes up. And then you look and you're going, right, 8th fret here, 10th fret there. You know, you've done it a million times, but there's a massive problem with this, okay? It's not connecting you to the music, right? It's connecting you to something that's written on a page. And the thing that's written on a page is not music. You're far better off listening to the music and trying to figure it out using your ear. Now, you might find that really difficult. I think most people do, but it's something that gets better with time. I definitely, years ago, struggled with listening to things by ear and trying to figure them out. And it annoyed me, so I just kept doing lots and lots of it. And that's what we're going to talk about, why you shouldn't be looking at tab and why you should be figuring things out by ear. Now, I'm not saying never look at tab. If you're in a bit of a rush, you've got to learn something quickly, fair enough. If it's really like mega complicated, you might need to look at tab. But for most stuff, trying to figure it by ear will make you far more musical in the long term. It's kind of like short-term pain for long-term gain, that's how life is, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play over a backing track in a kind of BB King style, but I'm going to put lots of little nuances into it. And all these little nuances, really, they're very hard to express in tab. And this is another reason why tab is a bit inadequate on guitar, because it's very hard to bring out all these little nuances. And then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about how we can replicate this in our playing using our ears only. So there I'm putting lots of little inflections into my playing. I'm using volume dynamics. I'm doing pre-bends. I'm doing microtonal bends. And if you're trying to get that from tab, you just ain't going to be able to get it from tab, right? So let's say you were trying to learn that solo. I know you've seen me play it, but let's just say it was on the record. The first thing you've got to do is this. You've got to listen to it a ton, right? Now, I don't know if you go out for a run or a walk or you're driving in your car, listen to it a ton. Right? You need to be able to sing the whole thing first. Do not try working it out unless you can sing the whole thing through, or you can at least sing the segment that you're trying to work out. Right? Something like that. Now, it doesn't matter if you feel that you sound stupid when you do it. That's not the point. The point is you're engaging what's going on in your head and you're getting it to come out vocally, right? And then you're going to try and get it to come out in your fingers, because learning by ear is all about connecting what's going on in your head with your fingers. Okay, it's not about your hands, it's about your brain, right? And it's that connection that's important, and with tab you totally miss that connection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and work out my own solo. Obviously I improvise that, but let's try and work it out. So let's listen to that first phrase. Okay, and let's try and work out by ear what I've done and try and pick up on all the subtleties in my playing. Now that's one listen. I'd really need more than one listen to get it wired, but nice vibrato there. Okay, something like that. Now you can see at the end of that first phrase there was a drop in volume, okay? And I tried to replicate that in what I just did there. But it takes more than one listen because there's lots of different things going on. You need quite a few listens to get all those little subtleties. So there straight away you can see that listening is kind of the most important thing. Listen to it a ton so you've really got it under your fingers. Let's listen to the next phrase. So there we've got kind of a slow bend. Now, I know that I'm in the same area. Obviously, I know what I played, but if I hadn't played that and it was someone else playing it, I can still hear that I'm in the same area. And then I think I cut it off short at the end. So it's like so it's quite a subtle bend that's cut off at the ends, right? And again, you can't show that with tab very well. And then we've got, right, you can show pre-bends with tab. But that pre-bend could be like, or it could be, right? And there's loads of variations in between that. And you can't really express that with tab. You've got to listen to it. And then there's just a little fill. It's all in the same area. You know, it's very typical of what B.B. King did. Now over the 5 chord I'm going. So I'm coming up a semitone here, right, and I'm bending it, I'm cutting it off short again. Quite a staccato bend at the top. And then I've got, that was it. No. And then vibrato on the end, okay? And then I'm doing that little 5-to-1 with the rake. 5-to-1, that's not the time. It's the 5th interval. Back to the root. Yeah? So tons of little subtleties in there. But I think you've got the picture that if you were just doing that by tab alone and not using your ear as much, you wouldn't get half as much as the stuff that's going on than you do by listening to it and trying to replicate it. And also, you know, because you'll hear that B.B. King thing going on, and when you're hearing it, you think, well, he's probably going to be just sitting around this box. You know, it's like when Peter Green, for example, does Need Your Love So Bad, a lot of it's sat around that little box, isn't it? So once you've got an idea of the geography that he's likely to be using, you know where he's kind of going to go to next. You've got a feeling for it. Or it might be he's sitting in Stevie Ray Vaughan, pentatonic position 1. You know he's going to be around that area. You know the kinds of notes he's going to play from doing lots of this in the past. So it builds, right? Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. Loads of people signing up at the moment, getting some really good positive feedback on there. Loads of lessons like this, but in a lot more detail with PDFs and tabs and all that sort of thing. Only costs the same as a cup of coffee per month. So it's something you've got to work on and build. The more you work on it, the more it builds, the more satisfying it gets, the better you get. Catch you next time.